Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Knowlton, and I am principal at Bartlett High School. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to please stand and welcome the members of the 2018 Bartlett High School Super Team. Please remain standing and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. It gives me great pleasure at this time to introduce to you the captain of this year's Super Team and the Master of Ceremonies for tonight's festivities, Ms. Ruby Lee.
I would like to welcome everyone to the 33rd Annual Super Team Recognition Night Banquet. There are over 160 attendees this evening, including Senator Ryan Fatman, State Representative Joseph McKenna, Selectman Andrew Schroeder, and Robert Milley, Police Chief Tim Band and his wife Lynn, Deputy Police Chief Mike Shaw, School Resource Officer Tim Whiting, School Committee Chairman David Hurden and his wife Donna, School Committee Vice Chairman Michael Macara and his wife Jean, School Committee Member Kathleen Naparata, Superintendent of Webster Public Schools Ruthen Gogan, Business Manager Monique Perangeli, former Business Manager Ted Avalas, Director of Food Service, Alan Nyland, Director of Student Support Service, Kathleen Barris, Math and Science Curriculum Director, Jill Chapdelaine, Literacy Curriculum and Title I Director, Janice Daniels, Bartlett High School Principal, Steve Norton, Assistant Principal, Becky Janicki, Dean of Students, Eric Tracy, faculty, staff, parents, families, and students, thank you all for taking out of your business schedules to help us honor the 21 members of the Bartlett High School Super Team. These 21 students were chosen by the faculty and staff of Bartlett High School because they exemplify the following characteristics: initiative, drive, ambition, and hard work, not just once in a while, but every day. We have on a drive at the same place tonight, but our paths to this point are definitely not the same. Some of us have had clear visions of education our entire lives, and others have taken a more diverse but still remarkable route. You will have the opportunity to hear each of our stories later on in the evening. We will begin tonight's celebration with salad, dinner, and dessert. And then we will introduce you to the students who comprise the 2018 Super Team. Please enjoy your meal, and then please be prepared to enjoy the program. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, if everyone would take their seats, please, we'll get our program rolling.
Okay, I think we're ready. You briefly met our super team captain before dinner, but let me tell you a little bit more about Ruby Lee. Her real name is Phong Lee, and Ruby is her nickname. Having come from Vietnam, this summer marks her 2-year anniversary of her coming to the United States. In Vietnam, Ruby was the president of the English Club and vice president of the Art Club. Ruby has acquired countless academic awards, including the Merit Scholarship for National Talented Students for 3 consecutive years, a bronze medal and a silver medal in the internet-based Olympiad of English competition. Ruby's artistic talents have been awarded with the first individual prize for 3 consecutive years in the card writing and decoration contest, first team prize in the flower arrangement competition, second team prize for 2 years in a row in the newspaper report and decoration competition, and third team prize in the Camps Gate decoration competition. Ruby was a member of the badminton team for 3 years and also assisted her family in running their small family business. In the United States, Ruby's ambition and success has continued. Since coming to Bartlett, she has been the Secretary of National Honor Society, the manager of the Trading Post, and a member of the DECA Club and the Farm to School team. Some of her achievements include the DECA Achievement Award in Apparel and Accessories in Marketing, taking 16th place in the DECA competition statewide. She's an Abigail and Adams Scholar and the Dudley Women's Club Scholarship recipient. She has also received the National Student Leadership Conference Scholarship for a 9-day summer program. Ruby also maintains a part-time job working at Dunkin' Donuts for the past year and has worked in the school store selling candies and cookies, raising funds for the DECA Club. She has participated in the redesign of the Webster Public School logo, as well as business cards for administrators. Even with her rigorous academic work and schedule, Ruby has managed to put in approximately 100 volunteer hours so far this year. Ruby has applied and been accepted to the following 6 colleges: Emory University, University of Virginia, University of Southern California, University of Notre Dame, Babson College, and Fordham University. Which one she will go to, I will let her tell you. Once again, it is my pleasure to introduce to you this year's Super Team Captain, Ruby Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Norton, for your great introduction about me. A 17-year-old Vietnamese girl landed at the JFK airport in New York around 6 p.m. on July 27, 2016. She was extremely excited as that was the beginning of her dream to pursue a higher education. But little did she know about the challenges and opportunities that awaited her. I was that girl. The most significant moment that has led me here delivering this speech was the moment I stepped out of the plane onto American soil. It has blurred a huge geographical distance, 8,584 miles, between where I lived and where I am now. I was born and raised in a really small city in the south of Vietnam called Long Xuyên. Each of my family members has always been a source of inspiration since I was a child. My parents, without a college degree, had a hard time building their clothing business from scratch during the Vietnam War, with low investment and no location at all. My mother, as a tailor, found her own ways to produce simple homemade clothes using decent equipment. As a result, I had a chance to learn from her how to write neatly, how to do the sewing and ironing, how to sketch and drawings, and most importantly, how to lead a life of virtue as an Asian girl. While my mom took care of the creativity of my right brain hemisphere, my dad trained the other half with logic. Having no accounting knowledge, he recorded sales and expenses using a pen and paper, then performed mental arithmetic functions to calculate income and profit. Thus, I had another math teacher at home who never gave tests, but explained to me tough math problems whenever I needed. Also, I grew up with a caring older sister who made sure that I could ride a bike, then a scooter without getting lost, and a strict older brother who introduced me to English and its universal importance at an early age. In short, I used to be like a bird, living a worryless and risk-free life, with more than enough support and protection. Moving here was truly a turning point in my life because the last 2 years has tremendously sparked both of my intellectual interest and personal growth. My experience during the first few months in this school was unique. I was surprised when learning that only public education in the US equals free tuition. Lunchtime happens at school, and students move between classes, not teachers. More importantly, the fact that there were elective business classes and a specific competition for business students called DACA intrigued me greatly. Holding an authentic marketing book and learning the vocabulary on every single page really gave me satisfaction. Although I did not make it to stage until my second year, the competition fueled my desire to major in the business field. I felt like I was truly entering the business world and experiencing legitimate problems. During the first summer in America, I chose not to go back to visit my family and friends in Vietnam. Instead, I took advantage of that valuable time to broaden my horizons by enrolling into rigorous business-oriented summer programs, one on entrepreneurship at Yale University and another on hospitality management at the University of New Hampshire. The cost was unfortunately expensive at first. Some teachers didn't recommend me going and tried to explain to me that those names would never be an admission ticket to top colleges. They were right. Putting one fancy college name on an average resume would never boost it up. But it wasn't I didn't think of it that shallow way. In the world where almost everyone had jobs to finish, deadlines to meet, and goals to achieve, I would have stayed in the same place if I had not challenged myself to move forward. Since I wanted to explore what this country could offer me in terms of education, and where I was standing among current students, I applied for scholarships for the tuition and went to almost every single business in town to ask for financial assistance. Eventually, I ended up paying only about 1/4 of the original cost, and I did learn a lot through business simulations and meaningful leadership exercises. After that, since the beginning of senior year, I have had a chance to apply my new knowledge and the skills that I had through the Mass Farm to School Harvest of the Month campaign at Ballard. Each month, a different Massachusetts-grown food is promoted in school cafeteria, and the program's goal is to encourage healthy local food choice by increasing students' exposure to seasonal foods and building excitement about school lunches. In other words, a real-world problem needs to be solved by business implications and creativity. As a student who has always been passionate about marketing and graphic designing, I have put my efforts into creating monthly posters because I'm aware that by that cost-effective way of communications between students, I can not only raise awareness of the campaign, but also deliver the right message to the right target market in a timely manner, thus addressing our goals. We even presented the Farm to School program to the school committee. The results have been so much rewarding to me that I realized how an approach to art or a street of innovation can benefit a business, and how a business decision in turn can make a huge impact on its community. It is said that in school you are taught a lesson and then given a test. In life, you are given a test that teaches you a lesson. My test in life from now on is to become a prosperous and benevolent businesswoman, traveling around the world, learning new strategies and unlocking the power of art to cope with the challenges in both business world and society. Looking forward, I strongly believe that a higher education will prepare me well for the future, as will help me avoid the same difficulties that my parents struggled to overcome, simply because they did not have a chance to attend college. College through my lens, however, is neither a shortcut nor an elevator. To build a safe and stable building, workers need to cleverly utilize the best materials that they have. Similarly, to build my business career, college is the best tool that I could obtain. Moreover, since I'm the youngest child in my family, the rate of my success must be faster than the rate of my parents' aging. I'm glad to officially announce that I will be spending the next 4 years of my life's journey treasuring my dream at the University of Notre Dame with a full ride. I plan to pursue a double major in marketing and designing, as well as a minor degree in innovation and entrepreneurship. In conclusion, I would like to thank you, the faculty, for your dedication and your understanding during my time at Bartlett. Thank you, Mr. Shan, my guidance counselor, for being so much patient with me during my college process and guiding me to make my best decision ever. Thank you, Mrs. Hennig, for being a great support every day. Thank you, Mr. Norton, for choosing me to receive this award and offer me this chance to make a long speech. It has been a great honor to me to stand here and master this ceremony. To conclude, I would like to introduce my family members, including my auntie, my uncle, and my mom. Please stand. I would now like to introduce our honorees, beginning with the Alexandra Steinbach Award. Mrs. Susan Dork from our Life Skills program will present this gift.
Alexandria Steinbach unexpectedly passed away in the year 2014. She was a grade 12 student in the Life Skills program at Bartlett High School. Allie was a delightful young lady with a warm sense of humor. She was a special person to the many teachers who worked with her. Her fellow students in the Life Skill program also loved her dearly. Receiving the award this year is Amanda Donovan.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Donovan, 12th grade student at Bartlett High School. I am very honored to receive the Alexander Steinbach Award. For the past 8 years, I've been an active band member of the concert band as well as the marching band. It made me very happy to play music as well. I'm a member of the middle and high school band. Thank you all so much, and I'd like to introduce my parents to come here.
Continuing with our program and beginning with the Art Department Awards, I present to you Julian Ortiz.
All right. Thank you, Miss G and Mr. Harrington, for selecting me for Super Team. I first want to start off with a little story. A couple months ago, I went to my local convenience store, just normal. I go there for years, so I was getting something. I forgot. It doesn't matter what I got, but anyway, I went up to the counter, and I was looking at my wallet, and the lady behind the counter noticed my senior sweater, and she goes, "Oh, you're a Bartlett victim." And I was so shocked. In my head, I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, what did she just say to me? And I was so shocked and like confused. I was like, yeah. But I don't know. I just was so offended that she said that. Like, this person that probably hasn't gone to school in 20 years, probably didn't like school, and she's over here telling me I'm a Bartlett victim. I love Bartlett. I don't know why she would ever say something like that. But anyway, I started at Bartlett in 2013. I was in 7th grade. And that was one of my favorite years. I had the best schedule. Had Mr. Bennett for English, Miss Crosby for science, Miss Bennett again for study hall, Miss Morrissey for history. Gym, I had Mr. Laughlin. But it was just my favorite year. It got me like, I felt so confident about high school with that first year. I just felt like so good being there. I met my best friend John in 7th grade. Shout out to John. He's in Florida right now. I think he just graduated. But love you, bro. The first art class I took was Intro to 2D with Miss G. I took that as a sophomore so I could take digital arts as a junior. Around that time, I was making YouTube videos every other week. So I already had like experience in creating media and all that, and using editing softwares. But digital just further made me like find my passion for photography and all that. I used Photoshop and used the DSLRs for assignments, and even my free time. Every other week, I'd sign out the cameras just with no plan of shooting, just to shoot and see what I could get. And I'd also shoot basically all the school events. If one of the teachers wanted me to shoot an event, they'd always come to me because they were like, "I heard you were the one to talk to about pictures. You're the photo nerd." And yeah, I don't know. I did pep rallies, the plays, other school events. Sophomore year, I was really like confused on like what I wanted to go to college for. But after my junior year of being in digital and finding my passion for photography, I really like am confident in having a future in photography. My current plans are to attend UMass Dartmouth with a major in photography and a minor in business. And I'm so proud to be a Bartlett student. I really enjoyed my time at Bartlett with my day ones, Alex, Justin, Jenna, Liz, John, but he's not here anymore, don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the future. And now I just want my family to stand. And thank you. You too, Liz. You better stand.
The second student from the art department is Orion Walker.
Hello everyone, my name is Orion. Some people pronounce it as Orion, Orion, and Orland sometimes, but it's all the same to me. I'd like to thank my teachers, Ms. Gillenhammer and Mr. Harrington, for allowing me to participate and be involved in this program. For the last 4 years, I have been part of this art program. My love of art has become much stronger, and I've learned a new appreciation of the work and time that goes into each piece. The art program was allowed me to work with many different people to share the same passion and dedication to work that I do. At first, when I started, I wasn't very good. Most of the ideas had interesting concepts, but I just had extreme difficulty expressing them. But with Ms. Gillenhammer actually putting me into concepts that would put me kind of frustrated, but made me put the much needed life that I needed to put in them. And I would also like to thank Mr. Harrington for introducing me to the program of 3D printing. Like, I had a little difficulties at his class at first, but I wasn't really great at clay. But then he introduced me to online design. He put me into something that I really was excited for. Subject I appeared to be ecstatic into it for. And some reason I was good at doing it. I could make simple shapes and make wolves, creatures, and any other thing. I would never have done it without the guidance of Mr. Harrington. I have faced many challenges, but thanks to the support of my friends and teachers, I was able to overcome them far. Yeah, I have to say, 2 people that got me through a lot, through the thick and thin, are my parents. The 2 of them put their time and effort paying attention to what I was doing, and they gave me the encouragement to continue with my work. I want to say I really appreciate all they have done for me, all the support and how they were stayed by my side. I want to thank my mom for being so patient with me, staying right there by myself, helping me believe that I could do what I can. I also want to thank my dad for always being interested in what I was doing, to the big things like 3D printing, to even the simple sketches I would make. I would never forget what you guys did for me and the sacrifices you took. Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask Beth and Adam to please stand.
Representing the business department is Kylie Cloutier.
Hi, to start off, to introduce myself, my name is Kylie. As you can see, not spelt like it normally is. Courtesy to my mom. I made Super Team for business thanks to Mr. Jennis. I think part of his reason for choosing me, as I so kindly point out to him all the time, is that I absolutely hate presenting more than anything. Every time we had a presentation, I would complain and ask if I absolutely had to do it. So to make a point, after the people who would volunteer had gone, he would look at me and tell me that I have to go and to get over it and just get it done with. At that point, I'd be so irritated, so I would obviously go and do it because I had to. My sophomore year in health class, I had to present, and Joey said to me after I presented that it was so unlike me. He told me I was so quiet and he could barely hear me, but whenever I talk to anybody else, that I have no problem yelling at them and being as loud as I want. This continued into Mr. Jennis's class, also my sophomore year and into my junior year. But thankfully, I started to get a little more comfortable with all the presentations we had to do. I stopped stuttering as much and I got a little bit more confident in my speaking. I used to absolutely hate school, still not a big fan. I'll be honest, it still isn't my favorite. I'd still rather be doing something else, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I really enjoyed personal finance and thought it was useful, so in turn I did well and applied myself a lot more than usual. As my mom always points out, my problem with school is I'm not dumb or anything, is I just don't like to apply myself because it bores me. I always thought it was funny because we would be playing Jeopardy or something to prepare for a test, and one time everybody complained because me and Connor ended up on the same team, and they all said it wasn't fair because we were both really smart. Mr. Jennis goes, yeah, I was trying to make that not happen, but oh well, it is what it is. Or they'd always be like, Kylie was the answer, you're smart, you know it. Like, everyone's smart, some just have to work a little bit harder than others, but that's perfectly fine. I had a lot of fun and thought personal finance was really useful because you learn valuable stuff you will need after high school, like doing taxes, writing checks, budgeting, and etc. I'd like to thank my mother for always pushing us to do our best and grinding us if we got bad grades. So we would, more me than my brothers, would actually apply ourselves and try a little harder in school. Mr. Shen and Miss Guiney, thank you for Mr. Shen and Miss Guiney for always letting me go down to them and go on my little rants about anything and everything to calm down and always listening to me and believing in me to do things that I didn't think I could. And of course, Mr. Jennis for allowing me to have this experience and always pushing me to do my best this year and last year. Also, can't forget the wonderful stop sign story about whose fault it was that caused the crash. He says it wasn't his. It was also a very valuable story time. Now I'd like to thank my mom, Angel, and my dad who came here tonight. Would you guys please stand?
Also being honored by the business department is Anya Gonzalez.
Good evening. My name is Anya Gonzalez, and I was chosen to represent the business department. An ideal childhood is considered as growing up in a loving family and becoming used to a specific city or town. The day my parents got divorced, that ideal childhood was instantly vanished. My mom became a single mother and struggled to raise both my brother and I. When I was about 6 years old, my mom decided it was best for us to move to the United States. We arrived in Boston on November 21st, 2005, where I first discovered the cold weather and the snow. This definitely wasn't an easy change, especially because of all the moving that took place just to settle in. We switched schools about 7 times, and knowing no English caused me to be held back in the 2nd grade. Being away from my father was not easy, but every summer we traveled to Puerto Rico to visit him. None of this stopped me from achieving my goals and making both of my parents proud. During my 8th grade year, I was selected to be a part of NJHS and Student Council due to my grades. Freshman year came, and I became a part of the JROTC, where I learned leadership skills and became the squad leader for my unit. During my junior year, I was selected to be a part of the National Honor Society as well as a part of the Women's Leadership Institute at Nichols College. But then my senior year came and the biggest downfall of my life took place. 2 weeks after coming home, I received a call at 3:34 in the morning. My father had passed away to an incident that occurred late that night. Flying out to Puerto Rico to attend the funeral on his birthday was honestly the worst thing I had to go through. Not being able to share my achievements with him broke my heart. I know he would have been proud of all that I have achieved my senior year, including getting accepted into all of my colleges, only having to pay $230 to attend my top school, and here I am today as a super team member for the field I want to major in. But I don't think I could have finished my senior year as strong as I did if I didn't have this special person to guide me through everything. No amount of pages can ever fill how thankful I am for this person who completely changed my life. Finding the best in me and inspiring me and giving me advice are just some of the things she did for me. Thank you for everything you do, and no words can ever explain how grateful I am. And with that being said, I would love to honor Miss Hanig for being the great, most amazing person that she is. In addition to her, I would also like to recognize my mom and my brother who have been through it all with me and have joined me tonight on such a wonderful evening. May you please rise for recognition.
The first student chosen from the English department is Victoria Mann.
As Malcolm X once said, education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are 21 different individuals who have displayed the qualities, skills, and passion needed to obtain each of our individual awards. We will all be prepared for what tomorrow has to offer us, and we will all strive to always do better. As most of you know, my name is Victoria. I was born in Milford, Massachusetts, along with my twin brother, Garrett. I lived in Massachusetts all my life. I moved to several houses up until I was 3 years old, and when I was 3, I moved to Webster, Massachusetts. Today, I'm happily accepting the Super Team Award for English. I want to start off by saying that I have a 504 plan, and what that basically is having a learning disability in a particular area of the brain. Before I had a 504, I had an IEP, also known as an Individualized Education Program. You have accommodations based on your needs, but I grew out of my IEP because I tested out of it. My disability was, and is still due to my cognitive ability. With my disability, it has made me fight my way through school trying to remember things such as math formulas and certain vocabulary. Many times I wanted to give up after getting frustrated, but I chose to keep pushing forward. Jesse Jackson once said, if you fall behind, run faster, never give up, and never surrender, and rise up against the odds. But despite my disability, I've always worked my hardest and always put more than 100% into my work at school. My disability affects some of my grades in subjects such as math and English, and above all, my ability to comprehend complex ideas. Nevertheless, I have fought against my disability to strive to strengthen my weak points. It's ironic how English used to be my worst subject, and now I am here receiving an award for the English department. With my hard work, anything can be achieved. I maintain my grades to be at least a B average, and even then I push myself to do my absolute best. English has always been my second favorite subject. My first has always been science. Growing up, I have always wanted to help people, even if it was something simple. I'd ask my mom if I could do the laundry, and then over time I started to do bigger things by being a therapist to some of my friends. Sophomore year, my chemistry teacher, Miss Flynn, really got me interested in the science field. I began to study on my own time. But even then, I always found everything interesting. I love learning about the world. I enjoyed reading about scientific ideas very much. I also enjoy cooking, drawing, photography, dancing, and learning new languages such as Portuguese and figure skating. I often find myself thinking about things such as my career and where I want to attend college for pharmaceutical science. At first, I wanted to work as a surgeon or a doctor, but soon after, I began to realize that I have a very weak stomach and I wouldn't be able to handle things of that sort. I want to work as a pharmaceutical scientist in the future in order to make medicine more natural and not so addictive, so that the rate of overdose will hopefully decrease. But there's only so much that natural medicine can do. One of the good things about me is that I don't like to be stressed, so when the time comes, I get things done. I don't procrastinate because it does me no good in the end. But English is still one of my favorite subjects. When I entered the actual high school my freshman year, I enjoyed writing, and each year my teachers always excelled me with my writing skills. I thank my teachers such as Miss Nassis, Mrs. Argentary, Mr. Constantine, Miss Ricciardi, and Miss Arsenal for helping me reach my full potential in the English department and other subject areas. I enjoy English to the extent where I even write short stories. I'm currently writing a short book. It's called The Hidden Key. Nelson Mandela once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world." I thank all of my teachers for pushing me to do my best work over the years and believing in me. I thank you all for coming and listening to my story. When I call your name, please stand. My grandmother Carol, my grandfather Joe, my meme Dolores, and my mom Lori, my brother Garrett.
The second honoree from English is Marina Resk.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank all of you who came here tonight. My name is Marina Rizk. I'm an 11th grade student at Bartlett High School. I'm from Egypt, and I came here 5 years ago in 2013. I speak English as a second language. I have been representing English department and I would like to thank Miss Hansen for supporting me to improve my English skills. She always was right here supporting me whenever I need help. And she always tell me that I'm here. I'm welcome to ask her for any question at any time. I would also like to thank my family who supported me through all these years, and my sister Rania for helping me writing this up and encouraging me through this year. She always advised me if I need any help, and I also would like to thank Miss Mangia for helping me review this speech and fix it for me. I also would like to thank most important person in my life, which is my mom, because she helped me a lot since I born up. And at this moment, I would like to thank my family for supporting me, so please stand up.
Representing the Foreign Language Department for French, Kyle Sullivan.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Pierre, j'ai 16 ans, je suis de Webster. Those are some of the first sentences we ever learned to speak in French all the way back in French 1 in 8th grade. Now I am in French 4 and I know more complex sentences like Est-ce que vous nettoyez le pare-brise or Comment désirez-vous votre viande? Which I guess I might need to know if I ever need someone to clean my windshields or how to know how I would like my meat cooked. I would like to thank Madame Morandi for teaching me such phrases and for nominating me for this honorable achievement and everyone who supports me in my academic endeavors. I believe that I was nominated because of my personal achievements and my determination in French class, in which I have taken 4 years of and plan to take next year as well. I have challenged myself in this class and did everything I could to accelerate in it while increasing my knowledge in the subject. I think that some of my greatest accomplishments in this class have been being able to actually memorize dialogues in an entirely different language and actually be able to pronounce it correctly, for the most part at least. I would also like to thank my friends for helping me for not only this particular subject, but all across the board and for supporting me when I got stressed out or needed assistance. I think the most challenging and taxing part about this class was trying to work my brain around an entirely different form of sentence structure because, like Madame says, French is always backwards, and that couldn't be more true. However, I was able to keep it straight and persist with the subject even as it got hard. I believe that sticking through it for so long has made it easier in a way which was a perfect realization because it helped me understand that I needed to persevere through the hard times and make mistakes along the way in order to finally find the result that I was looking for. I would also like to thank my parents for supporting me through all my academics and helping me pay for a trip of a lifetime. Just recently, I had the amazing opportunity to go to the school to France and Italy. Now I could talk about that trip for hours, but I will just tell you my greatest takeaways. I discovered that I really enjoy learning about other cultures, especially ones that are diverse and rich and full of mesmerizing history, art, and architecture that is rare to find in the U.S. Going to these places also gave me aspirations of going back to these countries and furthering my education there while possibly studying abroad, as well as developing my French and maybe even Italian language skills. Some people also ask me why I would need to learn the native language when I go there instead of just being a tourist and just speaking English because there are bound to be people that speak it, which is true. However, like Nelson Mandela once said, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. But if you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart. And that is the reason why I'm so passionate about the ways of language. Once again, I would like to thank Madame Morandi for nominating me, and I would also like to thank my parents, Amy and Michael Sullivan, as well as my sister, Lacey, for helping and understanding me. Mom and Dad, would you please stand?
The foreign language recipient for Spanish, Julie Dwyer.
Good evening, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. My name is Julie Dwyer. I am currently a junior, and I am elated to have been selected as a member of Super Team for the second time, this time on behalf of the Foreign Language Department representing Spanish. Last year, I represented the Social Studies Department, and I am particularly lucky to be recognized for my passion for my two favorite subjects since freshman year. For those of you who attended this banquet last year, I promise I will do my best to make this speech slightly shorter. My fascination with Spanish began at a very young age. In first grade, I would ask my friend's mother, who spoke Spanish fluently, to give me lessons. I began learning Spanish in school in sixth grade, when I did not care about school enough to even attempt to understand conjugations and what they were. I did not even care if a noun was feminine or masculine, as that was just too complicated. Freshman year, I was placed in the college level of Spanish 2, which was necessary, as I only had Spanish once a week for 3 years and barely understood basics. I finally understood what conjugating a verb really meant, and I even started to learn the preterite verb tense. My Spanish brain was fixed by Senorita Masterson. She signed me up for Spanish 3 honors the following year, and I ended up in a class with students who were supposed to be much smarter than I was. I was also one of the few people to have been in a college class the previous year, and I was intimidated. Senorita Sabai, however, taught me how to study, and that I can not only understand, but become good at anything that I set my mind to. Her organization, dedication, and teaching style helped me to understand the complexities of the language and ultimately gave me a growth mindset. This prepared me for Spanish 4 Accelerated. This is the year that I have been mesmerized with the concept of language. In Spanish 4, I have learned about Spanish culture, connections between languages, along with multiple verb tenses. Every day, Senorita Masterson is concerned about my 3 classmates and I, and always makes sure to do everything she can to help all of her students understand seemingly impossible concepts. Whether it be pertaining to life or our Spanish souls, as our class likes to call it, she always has the best advice and shows a true passion for teaching. Every time that I ask her what the homework was between classes, she is always writing sticky notes to remind students of their assignments, writing notes, or helping students understand concepts. I strive to maintain a fraction of her patience and intelligence, and I look forward to AP Spanish next year. As I have mentioned the 2 amazing Spanish teachers that I have had at Bartlett, I cannot forget about Senora Doherty. While I have not had her in the classroom, she is an understanding and energetic NHS advisor, and I am so glad that students are able to begin their Spanish careers with her. I look forward to going to Barcelona, London, and Paris next year with her and other classmates and teachers in order to expand my knowledge of European culture. I cannot thank Senorita Masterson and Senora Doherty enough for choosing me to represent Spanish for Super Team tonight. Taking 3 advanced placement classes in addition to trigonometry and Spanish 4 with no study hall, on top of extracurricular activities, with some anxiety thrown in there, can get stressful, and usually people cannot wait until their junior year if they have fulfilled their foreign language requirement. I am lucky to enjoy Spanish, and I wish more than anything that more high school students would see the benefits of learning a language. Just knowing one more language enables you to talk to millions of more people. If you're going to take anything from this speech, let it be that you can achieve anything that you want to with persistence, and learning a language is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. While I was one of the most struggling students at the beginning of Spanish 3 last year, I am now one of 4 students in Spanish 4. The benefits of learning a language in high school or any time are uncountable, but some include an increase in critical thinking skills, knowledge, and ability to study. Spanish, along with many other activities, have had a significant impact on my high school career. Cross-country, indoor track, softball, show choir, mock trial, National Honor Society, and Girl Scouts have allowed me to make many friends and lifelong memories. I would like to thank Mrs. Baudet, Mr. Renaud, Mr. Carney, Mr. T, Mr. Leboissoniere, Mr. Gorski, Senora Doherty, and Ms. Hensel for making all of these activities possible. All of my teammates have impacted me, whether it be winning gold in grand champions at Shepherd Hill and Waltham with impressions, winning against a rival in softball, or winning districts for mock trial. I have learned that hard work will ultimately allow you to meet your goal. I express unending gratitude to Bartlett for placing such extraordinary coaches, teachers, directors, and advisors in my life. I would also like to thank Ms. Hainig for putting up with my long speeches for the past 2 years. Because of my love for history, politics, social sciences, and language, I plan on working in a learning environment and teaching current events to those who do not understand English. I hope to be quadrilingual upon entering my first job. My family and friends allow me to go confidently in the direction of my dreams. I thank my mom, dad, and sisters Megan and Samantha for constantly supporting everything that I do. My mom and dad show me nothing but love and support, and I am so thankful to have grown up in an environment of unconditional love. A huge thank you goes out to Megan for convincing me to take 4 years of Spanish my freshman year, despite our fights over tater tots, and to Sam for inspiring my love for music, which keeps me sane during crazy high school times. While they are not here tonight, I would like to thank Sam's boyfriend Mark and Megan's boyfriend Tim for being the brothers that I never had. I would also like to thank my very best friend Patrick for never failing to put a smile on my face. While having an anxiety disorder can cause me to be stressed about things that do not even exist, my family has supported me by helping me learn to put the energy I waste worrying about imaginary things into school and activities, and I cannot thank them enough for never giving up on me, especially when I showed no sign of ever caring about school 3 years ago. At this time, would my parents, Kenneth and Diane Dwyer, please stand?
I would now like to introduce the honoree from the Health Department, Jillian Kosiba Hathaway.
everyone. My name is Jillian Casiba. Let me start off by saying thank you to Miss Grandy and Miss Granger for nominating me for this award. Now let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Worcester, Massachusetts on September 5th, 2002. I moved to Webster when I was 3 or 4 years old. Throughout elementary school and middle school, I was a straight-A student. I enjoyed everything about school and I loved learning. I always had an energetic, friendly, and outgoing personality. When I hit junior high, I turned on a bad road. I turned into a terrible student where I was failing mostly all of my classes. I was put into advocacy and kicked out of my classes often. I was given in-school suspensions what felt like every other week. I struggled terribly with controlling my emotions and didn't know how to properly handle anything. Throughout my 7th grade year, I had some pretty good encouragement and assistance from Mr. Shen and Miss Guiney. Throughout 8th grade, I was in STAR, which is another type of advocacy. I didn't have the assistance I had in 7th grade, but I did have one supporter who encouraged me and helped me out a lot, so shout out to Jenny Compson. Thank you for sticking with me. Then we get into high school. I came in with no desire to learn, but with the amazing help from Mr. Nebbs, Miss Arsenal, and Miss Hainig, I had a broad outlook on life. 9th grade year, I was not interested in any subject, but health was definitely on the bottom of the list. Until we started learning about mental disabilities and special needs. That is what led me to wanting the career that I do, which is a special needs music therapist. Kids need help controlling their needs, and for most kids, music therapy is the most effective way, and I want to help impact others' lives. I would like to thank everyone who I previously mentioned once again, and everyone who took the time out of their day to listen to this. Thank you to everyone who has helped me out along this bumpy path of life, always believing in me and pushing me to reach unbelievable goals. I wouldn't have made it to this point without all of you. And I can honestly say that I am proud of who I am and who I am becoming. And at this moment, I would like to recognize my dad, Michael Casiba, who has also been a huge part of my turnaround. Thank you.
The honoree from Physical Education, Jenny Compson.
Good evening, I'm Jenny Compson. My full name is Sasuiman, but Jenny is a lot easier. I have been nominated by the Physical Education Department. Thank you, Ms. Granger and Ms. Grandy. I was really surprised when I got called down for super team representing gym because I'm not an active person at all, but if it's for school and a good grade, I'll try. But here's a little bit about myself. I was born in Thailand. My mom and dad met in Thailand, and they got married, so we decided to move to America. We lived in Stoneham, Massachusetts for a few years. We then got a dog named Yogi, but the apartment didn't allow dogs, so we decided to move to Webster around 2012. I'm currently a sophomore at Bartlett High School, and I'm also in Nichols Honors Academy. I enjoy science and math classes the most because I would like to be a veterinarian and help animals, especially house pets. I do not play any sports, but I plan on playing in the future. For now, I'd rather stick to video games and take care of my dog. Again, tonight, I would like to say thank you to my family, close friends, teachers, and all of you for making this possible. Tonight, I brought with me my mom, my brother, and my dad. Will you guys please stand up?
Representing the Math Department, I would now like to introduce Patrick Burns.
I'd first like to start off by saying I never thought I'd make it this far. I often get asked why, and I say that's just the beginning of the equation. I've always had a passion for learning, and that passion only intensified when I entered Algebra 1 in 8th grade. When I was first exposed to it, it felt like learning a whole new language. It's a whole realm of possibility to explore, and it has encapsulated me in its mysteries for the entirety of my high school career. It's been like putting all the pieces of a puzzle together and seeing the picture form right before your eyes. It has fascinated me for the past 5 years, learning all new things and finally seeing how previously unexplained concepts finally started to make sense. There is never a better feeling than finally understanding something that has been burning in the back of your mind for several years. This burning curiosity is why I've devoted myself to this subject. I originally thought of integrating some humor here, but I couldn't think of a joke that wouldn't be considered derivative. You're gonna love this next part. However, by humor value theorem, there exists some joke H on the closed interval crickets to applause that will be considered funny enough. Enough with the math humor, though. I'd like to thank some very special people in my life. First, I'd like to thank my parents, who supported me all throughout my high school career and pushed me to do my best. Second, my Nana and Papa, who were always there for me when I needed them. My sister, who always kept me laughing with her dumb self and being there to talk with me. My girlfriend Mackenzie, who has been the light of my life for the past 10 months and given me unconditional love and support. And finally, the man who started it all for me, Mr. Way. When I walked into that pre-algebra class, I knew that it is where I belonged. Between you putting up with me asking all the different ways of getting the same answer and helping me plot out my high school math career, I can't thank you enough. You helped me fall in love with the very subject I've been selected for. When I finally got the chance to be your unpaid intern, I couldn't have been happier. No amount of words could describe how thankful I am for giving me the chance to work alongside you, for as brief as it was. I'll never forget the impact you had on me. In conclusion, thank you to Ms. Handig and the math department for selecting me for one of the super team math members and for giving me the chance to be recognized for my hard work. At this time, I'd like to ask my parents, Joseph and Kimberly, to please stand.
The second student chosen to represent the math department, Catherine Finamore.
I haven't always been the best math student. I didn't even pass my first math test this year. I got a 54. Now I am averaging between 80s and 90s on every quiz or test I take. Having a new teacher is always a difficult transition. Every teacher is different from another. From this year alone, I would spend countless hours after school trying to improve my math grade with my teacher, Miss Bigelow. Since the beginning of the year, I struggled with geometry. Throughout the first quarter, I had many failing quiz and test grades. After ending the first quarter with a 74, I had lost all hope in myself. That was the lowest grade I'd ever gotten, and I felt extremely frustrated. I wasn't understanding the content I was learning, so one day Miss Bigelow told me to stay after school so I could get extra help from her. Little did I know, staying after would help me become successful in math, along with my close friend, Dustin LaVenture. He would answer all my math questions inside and outside of the classroom. He is a great math tutor, but an even better friend, and I can't thank him enough for all he does for me. He has been one of my best friends since last year, and he's made such a positive impact on my life ever since I met him. He cheers me up, makes me laugh, and even answers my algebra atrocities. He has believed in me no matter what I've tried to do, and I hope to always be friends with such an amazing person. Apart from Dustin, I would like to show some gratitude towards Corey Newlub, Haley Padine, and Chelsea Canoyer. They have all been a great support system throughout the year, and they have encouraged me to do my best. They would assure me a countless number of times that I was smart and that I could achieve anything in life. I am surrounded by so many great people in school, and I am beyond thankful for all that they do. Before I finish, I would also like to thank Ms. Sergeant Cherry for helping me write my speech. She is an excellent English teacher, and I appreciate the time and effort she took out of her day to help me write my speech. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for them. They believed in me when no one else did, and I can't thank them enough for that. Throughout the year, I had gone through many instances where I wanted to stop and give up, but these people convinced me that doing work now will pay off in my future. This year, I decided to take 2 math classes at once, them being geometry and algebra 2. The homework load became very stressful, but my friends were there for me through it all, and they were extremely comforting even in my most stressful moments. I would also like to thank the rest of the math department for nominating me for Super Team. The nomination made me realize that all my hard work can pay off. Apart from school, I would like to thank my parents for supporting me throughout my high school career. At this time, my parents Greg and Darlene now stand for recognition.
I would now like to introduce to you Elisabetta Kochakaru from chorus and Kelsey Prince from band, who would like to perform a few musical selections for you.
Give me 1 minute. This past fall, I got to star in our production of The Wizard of Oz, so tonight I'm going to sing for you Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Technical difficulties. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I?
If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?
Thank you.
With her acceptance speech for chorus, Elizabeth Kochikaru.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Kajikaru. A little bit of background. I was born in Romania, and I moved here when I was 8 months old. There's been quite a few experiences that I've had at Bartlett, but I'll try to keep it kind of short. First of all, I'm very honored to be receiving this award today. I'm so appreciative that Mr. Carney and Mr. Turaga decided that I deserve this award when I have so many amazing peers that could have easily qualified for it. I'd like to begin with thanking you guys. Mr. Carney, I met you when I was in 5th grade and my sister was in your choir class. I met you at my concert, and in my brain I thought, that's gonna be my teacher. I decided that day. And look where we are now. I was in concert choir from 7th to 9th grade, select choir from 10th grade until now. I was in the 2 musicals that we've had, Little Shop of Horrors and The Wizard of Oz. And I've been in our show choir group Impressions from 9th grade until now. Mr. T, you've been amazing as well as a pit band director / co-director for show choir for the 4 years. Even when the group went through rough patches, you always kind of kept our spirits up. This year alone, I'm so happy to say that we've gotten 3 Grand Champion Awards, a record for Impressions in all the years that it's been around, along with 2 gold medals for the first time in about 15 years. We had the amazing opportunity to go compete in Nashville, Tennessee, where we got 3rd place in our division. I can honestly say that without show choir, I have no idea where I'd be. I've made so many friends and I've become so confident. I've always loved to sing. Ever since I was really young, I can remember singing along to the ABBA discs and Queen and Journey with my parents, dancing with them. When I would watch Disney movies, I would sing along, and even though I was really bad at it, I would kind of scream the words. And I had fun. And when I went to school, my favorite class was always music. And as I got older, I loved the challenge of singing harder and harder songs, learning the parts that people thought were impossible to sing, and becoming a soprano 1, which, if you don't know, in music terms, that pretty much means the highest voice. I started watching musicals like The Phantom of the Opera on Netflix. I would watch it on repeat until my parents would shut the TV off because it would be playing 5 times a day. I am completely surprised that they didn't try to delete Netflix. It's still one of the best shows that I've ever seen, and now after my years of loving music and learning so much because of it, I'm so honored to have been in 2 musicals here and to be a lead in one. I'd like to thank Miss Nassis for directing those. I'd like to thank all of you for attending and listening to me sing and listening to all the speeches that me and my peers have today. I'd now like to acknowledge my parents, Nicoletta and Anton Kajikaru, and my brother, Petro Kajikaru. Please stand.
I would like to present the honorary for band Kelsey Prince.
Fourth grade instrument open house at the middle school. This night opened my eyes to the world of music. I was surrounded by instruments and people who wanted to demonstrate them. As I walked around, I locked my eyes on the silver tube with 16 buttons. I walked over to the table to find out that this shiny tube was called a flute. The moment I picked up the flute, I knew that this was my instrument. Fast forward to 8 years later, and I am still playing the shiny tube with 16 buttons. During my high school career, I have also learned how to play the piccolo and the alto saxophone. There is always room to grow in the Bartlett Music Department with the help of Mr. Taraga and Mr. Kearney. Mr. T always challenged me to do better. Although I disliked those Friday essays in his first year and his terrible organization skills, it all changed quickly when I realized how much he cares. If it weren't for Mr. T, I would never have learned the alto saxophone. He also makes sure that his students are always ready for anything, whether it be having multiple pizza parties before basketball games, staying up all night to rewrite music, or even something as simple as making us feel wanted. In my 4 years, we have attended the Jazz Berkeley competition, UMass Band Day held at Gillette Stadium, and the MICA competition for the first time. He has also secured outside opportunities for us, such as tickets to the United States Air Force Jazz Band, and bringing in members of the United States Marine Band. This year alone, our band has grown dramatically, and it would not have been possible without Mr. Taraga. Mr. T makes our band a success. Although most of my time is spent in the band room, I have become fond of the chorus room. A big thanks to Mr. Kearney, who has pushed me out of my comfort zone, especially when he insisted that I audition for show choir. As a sophomore, I was nervous and had no interest in singing and dancing in front of a crowd. What I didn't realize is that when you're part of show choir, you are part of a team. We are a family. I have been a part of show choir for 3 years now, and this year alone we have grown tremendously. We have received 3 Grand Champion Awards, 2 Best Vocal Awards, and 1 Best Choreography Award. These would not have been possible without Mr. Kearney. In and out of rehearsal, he always works to make us better, whether it was fixing our slanted arm angles or bringing us to Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville brought us all together and opened our eyes to what we can be. Mr. Kearney has taught me the meaning of hard work. Although getting up at 6 in the morning for competitions, teasing my hair until it stood on its own, and having endless amount of rehearsals were a hassle, I will truly and deeply miss the Bartlett Music Department. It has taught me to take new risks and challenge myself. It has taught me the true meaning of family. I would like to thank my parents, Arthur and Lisa Prince, for constantly supporting me at all my performances and competitions. They are always there for me, even if it means driving more than an hour to watch my last competition. Although she is not in the Bartlett Music Department, I would also like to thank my favorite library media specialist, Miss Sanborn, for always being there for me, whether it be to read my essays or give me a place to work during my multiple study halls.
You have truly inspired me to pursue my interests, and for that, I thank you. If I were to thank everyone at Bartlett who has helped me, we'd be here until graduation. So thank you to all of these people. It is hard to believe that, like this speech, my high school career is coming to an end. But when one adventure ends, a new one begins. I am excited to begin my new chapter at Springfield College, majoring in health sciences and minoring in psychology. And because of what I have learned at Bartlett, I know I will do great. Thank you for your time. Like Mr. T always says, have a great day or not, the choice is yours. At this time, I would like to introduce my mom, Lisa Prince, and my dad, Arthur Prince.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say that I've been changed for the better, but because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
Thank you, Kelsey and Elizabeth. Moving on to present her acceptance speech in science, Paola Cruz Pizarro.
Hello, my name is Paola. I want to thank my teacher, Mrs. Coulson, for electing me to be a member of the team for science. I always try to do my best in school because I want to graduate in and accomplish great things in my life. I grew up in Puerto Rico, but when Maria hit my country last September, my family lost everything, including our home. When we moved to the United States, I was thankful to find such a great school like Bartlett, even though it was a very difficult and trying time in my life. Bartlett gave me support and the opportunity to learn English and have a success. I also want to thank my family for their love and Ms. Mongia for helping me have a better future. Someday I want to study culinary arts and open a restaurant with Puerto Rican food because the United States has given me many things. I want to share a taste of my country. Thank you everyone for coming and congratulations to all the recipients of Super Team Awards.
honoree in science is Victoria Buchan.
If you told me 4 years ago at the start of my high school journey that I would be standing up in front of you all, I would think it was a joke. For as long as I can remember, I have always had an interest in science, so for my senior year, I thought it would be a great idea that I took two of the most hardest courses the school has to offer at the same time, anatomy and AP biology. I'm not going to stand here and lie and tell you all that it was easy and that my grades are fantastic, because reality is I'm struggling a little. It is definitely not what I was expecting, but I know what I was getting myself into. Although my grades are not exactly up to my personal standards, I am happy with them considering how hard both classes are. I will tell you all of this. Taking both of these classes at the same time is probably the best high school decision I have ever made, and for not a split second do I regret taking them. If it weren't for my wonderful anatomy and AP bio teacher, Miss Colson, for always believing me and motivating me to keep letting my light for science shine, especially when I simply just wanted to throw in the white lab coat and give up. I do not think I would be where I am today if it hadn't been for her sticking by my side and for supporting me throughout my senior year. I can proudly say that I'm going to be attending University of Maine with a major in anthropology and a minor in archaeology. In conclusion, I would like to thank my father, Craig, and my sister, Erica, for being my #1 fans. At this time, can you guys please stand?
The next department I would like to introduce is Social Studies. We will begin with Alejandro Espino.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I'd like to give some well-deserved appreciation. First off, I'd like to thank all of you for appearing here today. I understand you all have very busy schedules. I'd like to thank Ms. Hainig and all of those involved in putting this all together. The work you have done truly is priceless. Lost place. I'd like to thank the Social Studies Department for choosing Shay Parker and I as their representatives. This may sound cheesy, but this really is one of the greatest achievements of my high school career, and the gratitude I have is endless. I'd like to thank Barry Kane, Connor Brennan, Tyler Adolfo, and Nick Rockwood for coming out to support me tonight. If it wasn't for their kindness, I can assure you I most likely wouldn't be here to speak to you today. Now, as a representative of the Social Studies Department, along with Shay Parker over there, there's only one true way to speak to you all today. Fair warning, this is going to be a slightly unorthodox way of attacking this sort of thing. I'm going to talk to you about the rise and fall of the Soviet Union. Okay, can I please have everyone who thought I was actually going to talk about the Soviet Union please raise their hands? All right, now, I'd like to thank all of you who did not raise your hands for believing in me, believing that I would not genuinely talk about how in the midst of World War I, Vladimir Lenin, leading the Bolshevik Party, took hold of the Russian government, overthrowing Tsar Nicholas II, who did not think I was going to talk about how in 1922, the Russian, Transcaucasian, Ukrainian, and Belarusian republics unified, creating the Soviet Union. All right, I promise I'll do my best to leave the talk of the Soviet Union at that, for now anyway. Now, to get into the actual density of the speech, it would be best to talk about why I was picked for the Social Studies Department. In all honesty, I have no idea. To try and display how they picked me, however, I guess it would be best to talk about myself a little bit. Some of my favorite achievements this year were being a part of the Bartlett-Malka trial team as an attorney performing opening statement and cross-examination, while also being a witness during the trials where we were plaintiff. They were a really great family to me, and they've really helped push me forward. The team has been recognized as champions of our district, led by our coach, Mr. L., and our legal counsel, Mr. Gorski. This year, I was able to be a part in starting the chapter of YDSA at Bartlett, which is a political activist group standing for egalitarianism and the well-being of others. and then was elected as the first president of the Bartlett High School YDSA, which is the first high school YDSA in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I, along with Connor Brennan, had attended the Student Government Day in the State House in Boston with high schoolers, students from across the state to play the role of acting senator. However, I was supposed to just be a Senate alternate. One of the schools didn't show up, and I kind of just went and took their seat. We did not win on both of our proposals. In my 4 years attending Bartlett High School, I can assure you that I've certainly become a far greater person than the one I thought I was going to become. I've become more knowledgeable, empathetic, analytical, and dare I say, more personable in my 4 years at Bartlett. Most in thanks to those working in the Social Studies Department at Bartlett High School. For my 4 years, I have met and been taught by Mr. Labasa, however you spell it. I left it in there, and I'm just going to roll with it. Mr. Gorski, Mr. Riley, and Mr. Hanson. I had Mr. L my freshman year, my Honors World History course, where I learned much of how the world would change and learned how to far better dictate a story of two, which he would tell quite frequently, almost every day, really. I had Mr. Gorski my sophomore year, who taught me much about the ways of the world and further developed any sense of charisma I have, and he really helped me push my passion for historical analysis. My junior year, I would have Mr. Riley for my AP United States History course, in which, although I did not turn in at least 1, 2, 3, 4, I didn't turn in a lot of DBQs, I'm just going to leave it at that. With his help, I had been prepared enough to get a qualifying score on the AP US History exam. And I also had Mr. Gorski and Mr. L once again this year in my sociology and psychology courses, respectively. This year, I would work with Mr. Hanson during a C-period freshman strong world history course, with him as my advisor for my future Teachers of America course. With the help of Ms. Dobro, I was able to take this course twice, where people are usually only able to take it once. For this time, it has really helped me think of what I plan on doing. I wish to work in teaching and hopefully with enough time, dedication, and effort, eventually work in the administration of schools at a state level. And, you know, for many kids coming from similar backgrounds to myself, even kids I grew up with, the option they take for their lives are dealing drugs and picking fights. They make the streets their homes, where they were born and where they would never leave. But with the help of my dear friends I've made at Bartlett, my teachers in my routine classes, and most of all, teachers in the Social Studies Department, I've been able to avoid that path. Now the only fights I'm picking are those of political and historical analysis, which I can assure you, for some, such as Barry Kane and Connor Brennan, can be quite as vigorous and violent as a street fight. And, you know, as they say, the single flap of butterfly's wing can cause a hurricane. I will never forget the impact teachers of Social Studies Department have had for me. And once again, I'd like to take a moment thanking you all for coming here today. And I'd like to have the great honor of thanking those who have come here to support me today. But I'd also like to have the greatest honor today, and thanking Mr. Gorski of the Social Studies Department for all he has done and all he hasn't done. Mr. Gorski attended Boston College for a degree in political science, got a Juris Doctorate. Mr. Gorski passed the bar exam, being one of the youngest attorneys to ever be admitted to the Mass State Bar. Mr. Gorski, for many years, and I mean many years, worked as a defense attorney and had even owned his own firm. After a stunning career in law, Mr. Gorski began to teach at his alma mater, Bartlett High School, and for many long years, he taught, even becoming the department head. Mr. Gorski, in his years of teaching, has been able to change the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of students. Mr. Gorski will be retiring at the end of this year. From us all, through me, I'd like to extend our deepest thanks to you, Mr. Gorski. It has been a great run. I'd like to make you proud, and I'd like to ask you to stand now.
I now welcome Shay Parker. Fun fact, Dolly Madison's favorite ice cream flavor was oyster. Now, if you've ever taken a history class with me, or ever spent 15 minutes around me, really, you'd know I know a lot of weird tidbits like this. I used to spend, and still do spend quite a bit of time, reading about whatever period of history had caught my interest that month. I've never really gotten when people called history boring. To me, history at its heart is in a way a study of people and what they do and how they react to things. I mean, there's a lot more that goes into it, but history is moved by people, and not just a few particular larger-than-life figures, but ordinary people, especially when they're in groups. There have been a lot of troublesome groups of ordinary people in history. I just don't understand how that's boring to people. Beyond that, there's always been something really comforting to me about history, which is weird because it's not really pretty. I had a pretty tumultuous childhood. Until quite recently, I didn't feel like I was in control of anything in my life. And I mean, we're still getting there. But whether I realized it or not, I think I found something comforting in how the ordinary people of the past, the people who were supposed to be powerless, actually shaped the structures and movements of the past, even if they didn't realize it at the time. And I'm not necessarily talking about the big, flashy examples that all include murder, like the French Revolution. What I mean is the small stuff. The everyday stuff people did without realizing what they were contributing to. Like when peasants started getting higher wages for their works after the Black Death without knowing that they were helping put feudalism in the grave. There's something comforting in knowing that, whether history repeats or simply rhymes, we're all probably contributing to something bigger than we know. And that's really cheesy, I know, but that was a reminder that not only do I have more power than I realized, but I matter more than I realized too. And to someone who spent most of their living memory feeling not only powerless, but like they didn't matter, that was really reassuring. I'd like to thank all of the history department for choosing me for this award, and I'd especially like to give thanks to Mr. Lebosnier, who taught me more than I realized about world history and helped me get a 5 on the AP World exam last year. And I'd also like to thank my current AP US history teacher, Mr. Riley, who has taught me so much about United States history and will hopefully help me get another 5 this year. I'd also like to recognize and thank all the people in my family. My mom, Emily, who has been the closest family friend I've had in a while, and who has helped me tour colleges around the area. And when I choose what college I'll go to next year, I know that it will be because of you, at least in part. I'd also like to thank my sisters, McKenna, Brielle, and Gianna, who have always supported me and been my #1 fans. And I'd also like to thank my future brother-in-law, Anthony McAndrew, who I know will treat my sister great because he has always understood the importance of family and has helped me earlier this year get to a college class at Nichols. I'd also like to give the greatest thanks of all to my actual mom, who has always been the light in the darkness for me. She has been the greatest motivating figure in my life. She's always helped me do things. She's always done things for me that I hated, even if she hated doing them just as much or even more. She's always been the biggest person in my corner and my greatest contributor to my success. I'd like to ask these people to stand so that they can be recognized for all that they've done for me. Receiving the Super Team Award for the Guidance Department is Kaylin McLaughlin.
Abraham Lincoln once said, "Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition." I have family members here at Bartlett who have been honored for their good works, from my older brother Brandon making super team his senior year, to my twin brother making Nichols Honors Academy his freshman year. I have never really been recognized for my good works, but I've never really sought for recognition, which that is totally fine with me. I've learned that being recognized truly does pay off because it makes you feel good inside for knowing that you're doing the right things. I feel privileged to be able to stand here in front of you all today and accept the administration award from Guidance Department. When I heard my name, Caitlin McLaughlin, called on the intercom, I was puzzled that it was me. At first, I thought they had made a mistake. I was not expecting to hear it, and when I did, I was confused. I didn't understand why they had picked me. Before my senior year, I would rarely go down to Guidance, but this year, Guidance has stuck by me with whatever I needed, from all of my college questions to anything else that I needed help with. The Guidance Department has recognized how much school and college means to me and how much time and effort I've put into making my education and future bright, especially Ms. Dobro. But if I had any questions, Ms. Granger, Mr. Shen, and Ms. Guiney would always help me with them, and for that I am truly grateful. There have been a range of teachers here at Bartlett who have helped me along the way, but one that sticks out the most is Ms. Argentary. I was lucky enough to have her as an English teacher, my sophomore year. Before I had her, my older brother Brandon, the way she spoke about her made me so excited for that class. Miss Argentary has taught me many things, but one thing that has made my mark in my life was when she taught about being privileged. She taught me that no matter the circumstances we face, we are all privileged in our own ways. I look back at all the rough situations that my family and I have gone through, and I see how much we have grown and overcome together. Whenever I needed anything, Ms. Argentary has always been there. I am forever grateful for the impact Ms. Argentary has had on my life and my family's life as well. With help from not only the teachers here at Bartlett, but my mother, I am happy to say that this coming fall, I will be attending Framingham State University. To go to college has been a dream of mine for a long time, and to say that I'm going in just a few short months makes me overwhelmed with joy. Thank you to all the teachers here who have guided me throughout the years. Thank you to my mom for always being there for me and pushing me to reach my goals, for putting my needs in front of hers and always wanting the very best for me. I don't know where I would be without you. At this time, will my mom, Sherry, and my brother, Cameron, please stand and be recognized.
I would like to introduce Mark Wirral, District Director for Senator Ryan Fatman.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Wirral. I'm the District Director for Senator Ryan Fatman. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here this evening. He and his wife had their baby boy this morning, so he is with his wife and his 2 children now. So he does congratulate you. I'm honored to be here on his behalf. I think a lot of great stories tonight and quite impressive ones at that. So congratulations and best of luck on all of your future endeavors.
With a brief presentation to the members of Super Team, I present to you State Representative Joseph McKenna.
Thank you very much. And I actually have a bone to pick with Marianne, because if you were here last year, you remember that I jokingly requested to go at the beginning of the ceremony, because there's absolutely no way that anyone can follow these speeches that we heard tonight. So just another round of applause, please. Each and every one of the students here personifies life lessons that we heard play out in their speeches. right off the bat from Ruby, who came here when she was 16, challenging herself for a better future. I think when I was 16, I was challenging myself to find socks that matched. And she was realizing that if she didn't get out of a comfort zone, she may rest there and stay there. That insight and foresight into her own future teaches us all to go beyond where we're comfortable. We heard from Orion, who said that he had some difficulty at art at first, and he could have easily given up or looked at a piece that failed and said that's it. But he teaches us that it's okay to fail. We can be okay with failure, but we can't accept failure as the end result. We should persevere through it. We heard from Kylie, who was afraid to present and stood up here and gave a phenomenal speech in front of 200 plus people tonight. We heard from Victoria, who had some difficulties and wanted to give up at times and persevered through that and had persistence in her life. And each and every one of these students thanked others in the room who helped them get where they are, teaching us that no one's going to do it for you, but you don't have to take the road alone. You can accept help from others. And for me, I think the one that hit closest to home was Julian, who told the story of the lady who said, well, you're a Bartlett victim. And tonight proves that there are no Bartlett victims. And that's a credit to all of the teachers and administration at Bartlett who do a phenomenal job and who help all of the students who are here. And they teach us to take pride in whatever we do, be it big or small, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, take pride in that and never be ashamed. So thank you to each and every one of the students who continue to inspire us. I look forward to this night every single year. And in each bag is a citation from the house with the appreciation and recognition that you all deserve. So thank you all.
And now, School Committee Chairman David Hurden and School Committee Vice Chairman Michael Makara would like to say a few words.
Thank you very much. I just want to first start off by saying what an amazing job Ruby has done this evening as our super team captain. And as a fan of Notre Dame football since I was a little boy, all I can say is go Irish. Something's been bothering me this evening, which usually doesn't happen at super team, and Mr. McKenna alluded to it a moment ago. I just want to say to you, Julian, the small, petty, ignorant person who called you a Bartlett victim had the wrong label. Because you and all of your classmates are not Bartlett victims, you are Bartlett heroes. I stand before you in awe once again. I'm in awe of your perseverance. I'm in awe of your hard work. I'm in awe of your dedication. And I'm in awe of your maturity at such a young age. You are truly what is best not only of Bartlett, but what is best of our entire town of Webster. So on behalf of the entire school committee, I just want to thank you for your efforts and good luck with the rest of the school year.
So I've been to a few of these. I was counting the other day. I think I've been to over 20, Marianne. So by virtue of that, I'm self-proclaiming myself your biggest super fan. The one thing, just to be brief, that I take away from Super Team, and I always tell people, it is really the most special night that Bartlett has. It gets pretty emotional. We every year we hear some incredible stories. People who come from other countries and not only survive to come here, but excel. And tonight, we heard those same stories that we hear every year, and it's just amazing and can't help but touch your heart. I come away from Super Team thinking there are things that make all this possible, and I think number one is just the love and support that these students get from their family. That's one part of the equation. And the other part of the equation is how they recognize teachers, the special group of teachers that we have at Bartlett. And I think it just an example, a tribute to Tommy Gawinski. I mean, really, and he even got the flowers. But, so the teachers are the other part of the equation. So as I see it, you know, when you have those two pieces of the equation, that's what's needed in our lives to make, you know, these kids achieve the things that they achieve. So it's the teachers who are oftentimes mentors in their subjects, and it's the parents with their love and support to get these young adults through their teenage years, which can be filled with lots of drama. But look at what's here tonight. So again, it's always a thrill for me to come and sit here and listen to these stories, and I may just, you know, call Mary Ann next year so I can come again. So thanks for coming tonight.
I now present the Superintendent of the Webster Public School System, Ruthen Gogan.
Good evening, everyone. This is my first Super Team evening, and my heart is filled with Webster pride. Thank you for sharing your stories tonight. I have a very short little something to say to you. Being last is not easy. I do want to speak a little bit about what you shared tonight. Life is really a wild journey. It's much like riding a roller coaster, which I'm sure all of you have ridden. Sometimes you're going really fast, sometimes you're going in slow motion, sometimes you're upright, sometimes you're upside down, and sometimes you're sideways. That roller coaster of life quite often takes us by surprise. Tonight you shared your stories of perseverance, strength, and courage. The thing about life is you never know when that roller coaster is going to take you by surprise, and you're going to turn into a sharp corner that will either make you smile or make you very uncomfortable. The challenge of life is how you're going to take that turn. The roller coaster of life presents each of us with different views and different experiences, depending on the seat you happen to get. Our individual rides can be bumpy, they can be smooth. But you know what they do? They guide us. They guide us with forming our opinions, our attitudes, and our beliefs. And they impact who we become and how we behave and what we do in life. Each of you have had a different roller coaster ride experience, and there's one thing for sure. We all make it through somehow. Tonight, we're here to honor you for handling extraordinary challenges or obstacles or goals that you needed to accomplish. The challenges that many of you have faced are not typical challenges for high school students, and your ability to maneuver through these additional stressors during your high school years is what makes you a super team material. You've been selected because you've taken those sharp turns, the accelerated speed, those unexpected bumps, slow motion with courage, persistence, and you've taken those challenges and you've turned them into individual strengths and success. I'm not going to cry, don't worry. I was already. When I was asked to speak tonight, I thought, what can I bring to these students? What could I share? I did the typical thing what you do when you look up speeches. Well, what quote am I going to share? What inspirational thing am I going to say? And I said, stop, Mrs. Gogan. Tonight's about you guys. You were the teachers tonight. You taught all of us a very important lesson about your stories and about your courage, and everyone in this audience, 200 people, sat here listening. You could drop a pin. And you know what you taught us? Lessons about digging deeper for courage and persistence and not to give up. It's a pretty powerful message to give at your age. And many people in the audience need that reminder, so thank you. In closing, I'm going to leave you with 3 simple bits of advice about that wild roller coaster called life. Number 1, always buckle up, because you will never know when you hit that powerful turn that shakes you to your core or makes you smile from ear to ear. Number 2, always use your voice to advocate for what you believe in and ask for help when you need it. Number 3, always remember the most challenging times in life provide us with great opportunities to grow as individuals when you choose not to give up. I congratulate you on demonstrating strength, determination, persistence, courage as you faced and overcame unexpected turns of the roller coaster ride of your life. Your courage and stories are inspiring to all of us because you confronted hardships, you defied the odds, you denounced adversity, you tested your strengths, you dared to be different, you investigated all the possibilities, you reclaimed your dreams, and you stimulated others by your perseverance. On behalf of the entire school, student body, and staff body of the Webster Public Schools, I thank you for being you, and I congratulate you on your accomplishments. That's what Webster Pride is all about. Thank you for filling my heart tonight.
At this time, I would like to thank all the people and organizations who have made this night possible. Mr. Ted Avalos and Mrs. Marianne Hennick, the co-Vedis Clubs of Webster, Dockley, the Raceway Restaurant, Wyndham Pepsi, the Bartlett Cafeteria, and the Flower Garden. Thank you to the businesses listed in your program for their generous contribution. Year in and year out, they continue to support this event. To Sean Harrington and Lisa Fifield, thank you both for all your help with pictures, invitations, certificates, and programs. With a token of our appreciation, I present Connor Brennan, President of the senior class. We hope you enjoyed hearing our stories and our dreams. The members of the 2018 Super Team now look forward to carrying on the legacy of the 32 teams chosen before us. Have a wonderful evening, drive safely, and thank you all so very much for sharing this special event with us.